There was this case in 2001 Army unit. Of course, no one believed the soldier at the time, and it is extremely difficult to believe this story. Here is the soldier's story from his own words. It all started in a funny way. I served in a tank unit in Moscow, which is located near the metro station Filevsky Park. Everything was as usual. Buildings, outfits, charges. Nothing and never heralded any mysticism. My name is Sergei. I, the most ordinary guy, never believed in anything and did not go to church, the usual gray personality which millions. But the case extremely changed my life. I served a long time ago, but the memory and the scar on my arm I will never forget. And remembering the Army everyday life, I do not nostalgic. I get really scared. But I'll start my story. I served exactly 1 year, and I was put on guarding the warehouse. I had a Kalashnikov automatic rifle, 2 magazines, a bayonet knife, and 2 grenades. In fact, the warehouse had a bad reputation. The old servicemen were not eager to go there and shirked the warehouse as much as they could, setting new recruits there, but scaring them with stories about ghosts, headless Proporovs and tracks, which gallop by themselves without making noise. Anyway, I went on duty. It was a beautiful night. The air was relatively crisp, and there was even an owl hooting somewhere in the park. I leaned against the warehouse door, tipping the automatic rifle behind my back beforehand, took out a cigarette and smoked. It was good. But when my wristwatch beeped 12 times, telling me it was midnight, everything seemed to change abruptly. A cold wind blew, someone's footsteps were heard, and in general, there was some tension in the air. With fear, I pulled down my automatic rifle, but I couldn't understand anything. I felt dizzy and nauseous, as if my whole gut had been turned outward and decided to dry it out. I fell on one knee, leaning on the muzzle of the machine gun, and fell on my side. I woke up in the morning, but something had clearly changed. There was a forest around me. There was no warehouse, and the military unit itself was gone. I rubbed my eyes to make sure that I was not crazy, or at least not dreaming, although I had the sensible idea that I had fallen asleep at the post and I was dragged somewhere by people to scold me. But then why was my weapon and all my ammunition with me, and the edge of the park was also visible, or rather, not as before? I did not hear the noise of cars, did not hear any shouts of people, heard nothing at all. Hefting the machine gun on my shoulder, I went to the road, or to the place where it obviously should be. And then I saw a picture, a small country road. I saw a haystack not far from me. I heard horses neighing and slightly audible voices of people. I ran to the shouts. The picture that appeared to me defied all logic and facts. I found myself at the edge of a small village. I saw an old man sitting on a bench outside his house. I hesitated for a moment and decided to approach him. "Hello, grandfather," I began.
"And good day to you, you masquerade,"
replied the old man. Am I the masquerade? I should have looked at myself, sitting in some rags in front of me and showing no respect for the Russian army. But I decided not to scold the old man and did not express any of my thoughts to him. "Tell me, grandfather, where is the military base here?"
"What?"
The old man was surprised. "Well, a military base, where soldiers serve," I tried to explain him.
"Is it an outpost?"
The old man tried to correct me. I didn't say anything.
"So you're late. The commander was there recently, but he left for Moscow just 2 days ago, and the Cossacks were with him."
Who? Where did they go? And where am I then, if not in Moscow? I exclaimed, opening my mouth.
"Hey,"
hummed the old man.
"You are in the village of Fili, and Moscow is a little further away, about 25-30 kilometers.
Here I felt really bad. I looked around, looking at ramshackle huts, cracked roofs, the barking of lonely dogs on ordinary ropes. Thoughts swirled around in my head like that, and I obviously didn't know what to do. The world was literally turned upside down, and I was scared. And then the worst happened. A terrible pain burned through my shoulder, and I heard the screams of the villagers. I grabbed the wound and pulled the arrow out of my shoulder. I looked back. Blood was oozing from my arm and my camouflage was turning red. I quickly put on my helmet, picked up my machine gun, pulled the bolt, took aim and pulled the trigger. There was a short burst, then another. From behind a small hill, I saw a squad with some spears, incredible shields and archers attacking the unfortunate village of Fili. It got creepy. I got down on one knee and prepared for battle. The machine gun let out line after line until one magazine was empty. But then my head started to rumble, and I felt weak all over again. Perhaps it was the loss of blood. I began to fall and only heard the shouts of people through my eyelids and blocked ears. "The king is coming." I woke up near the warehouse. My tunic was soaked with blood. I felt the life leaving me through this small wound. My co-workers and orderlies came running up, and I smiled and cheered. The king has come. The story is true, but neither my co-workers nor my parents, not a single person in the world, will believe me. I understand and forgive people for this. After all, to believe in it is to disprove the theory of the world itself. And I do not judge anyone, but I would like to understand, not to consider me an idiot. I still had the wound, and when they found me after the infirmary, the officer in charge made me explain for a long time where I had spent the magazine of ammunition.